Hey guys, those of you who saw the original Exploring a Japanese Farmhouse video will remember this. That used to be a huge vegetable patch and it was let go wild for 7 years, so we had to attack it with the primitive cutting tool. It took 8 hours, more than 8 hours, because it was so long and thick and lots of little trees in there and stuff that needed to be dealt with. So it took 8 hours to clear that patch using that tool. So we knew we couldn't go on doing that every couple of weeks, so we had to find a lawnmower now that the weather's heating up here. So we went looking for lawnmowers, and just to give you an idea of where Japan's coming from on the lawnmower issue, have a look at this grass here. This is in a home centre. Now have a look at this grass. Looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Now this is very popular in Japan, this grass. It's made of plastic. It's fake. And it'll give you a bit of an idea of where Japan comes from on this, because most gardens are very small, so people don't usually have grass, and if they do, it's only tiny, which is why they use these little mowers. Now when I was a kid, I had a mower just like this, with wheels just like that, and on the top of it had a clear plastic ball with little coloured balls inside, and when you pushed it, the little coloured balls bounced around. And I used to follow my dad around the garden pretending it was a real mower. But in Japan, this is a real mower. This is an electric mower, and it's quite normal, and they're, about $300 each, $400 each. But and for the average Japanese house with the tiny little few square meters of garden, if that, it's enough. But usually they just use those brush cutters, because you can do the average Japanese garden with a brush cutter in a very short period of time. So if they do have a mower, it's usually something like this. So that's a couple $100 for that. Look at that. So we kept looking, because obviously that patch of grass we've got there is really rough. The ground is really rough because it's a vegetable garden. It's not really lawn, and it's a pretty decent size. It's about 300 square meters or something, so it's a decent size. So none of these little mowers are going to cut it. Those ones aren't either. It's just not going to do it, is it? Nah, sorry, I can't come at that. So anyway, we searched online. So you get a decent electric one for about, what's that, $450, $500. But electric, it just doesn't have the power. If the grass gets long and thick, the electric won't do it. So the cheapest petrol ones, gasoline ones, so that's about $950, $1,000 for that one, but no catcher. So if you want a catcher, this is, what's that, about $1,100, $1,200 for the cheapest one with a catcher. That's a Honda. Interestingly, the Honda lawnmowers are actually put together in France, because the market here, nobody uses lawnmowers. See, there's a good one. Look at that one. That's a good one. It's $2,500. Or more, $2,600, $2,700. More than a second-hand car in Japan. So it's because the market's so small here. Nobody uses lawnmowers. Most people don't use lawnmowers. You just don't see them. Sometimes even the councils don't use them. So we found this one online. This one's was Yonman, so it's about $450, $450. A Sunman it was. Sunman, so it's about $350, $360 with a couple of options, So we ordered that online, and it turned up, and we got the unskilled labourer to have a look at it. So yeah, guys, they just don't use them here. I've never seen a lawnmower being used here. The local council at the library have 3 guys that come and use those brush cutters to cut the grass around the library. And one guy with a lawnmower could probably do it in 30 minutes, but they have 3 guys do it, and it takes about 2 hours for 3 of them to do it using brush cutters. So they're just not into lawnmowers here. So that's why Honda sells their lawnmowers in France and around Europe, but they don't sell enough in Japan to make it worth their while putting them together here. So they actually import a few lawnmowers from France, Honda France, to sell to people in Japan. Yeah, it's got this. They've got these. You can't get a decent catcher in Australia. Even the cheapest lawnmowers have a decent plastic catcher, but here they have these sort of bags. So I didn't really trust that bag with the sticks and rocks and stuff that we've got going on out in that vegetable garden. I got some old fly screen, put it in the back of that catcher just to sort of take the blast of any rocks or sticks, because it's the first few times we cut this is going to be pretty nasty. So yeah, put the mower together. It's looking fabulous. I'm ready to go. It starts raining. And actually, it had actually been raining all day, so the ground was really wet, the grass was really wet, so it wasn't going to happen. So waited a couple of days for it to dry out, got it dried out, and then it's just really rough in there. It's really rough. There's a lot of rocks, there's a lot of sticks, there's trees that I've cut down that, you know, have bases on them a few centimetres wide that are still sticking out of the ground. So it's pretty wild and woolly. So just to make it a bit safer for the lawnmower, I thought we should run around first with that brush cutter just to sort of cut down the roughest bits and look for the dangerous bits, so we don't try not to damage that lawnmower that we just went to all that trouble to get. Don't want to damage the lawnmower. I don't want to break that silly little bag. So while I was doing it, I looked down at this point and realised that I'd caught this critter, and I hadn't. If I'd seen him, this would not have happened, but I didn't see him. I was cutting the long grass. I didn't see him until after I'd cut him, unfortunately. So it wasn't until he was wiggling around on the ground that I'd noticed him. So he's a mamushi. It's a poisonous snake. So unfortunately I got him. So he was still just alive at this point, but not for much longer, unfortunately. If I'd known he was there, I might have been able to do something else, find another compromise with him, but I just didn't know he was there, unfortunately for him. And he didn't get away quick enough, so the machine got him, which is a bit sad. But yeah, mamushi's poisonous. He's obviously a small one, but they are poisonous. And of course, after you come across a small one like that, you always wonder where their family is, don't you? I was a little bit more careful after that, keeping a bit of an eye out for his family, but didn't see any more. So yeah, just cutting down the nasty bits, pulling out there's full-on big bits of wood and rocks and all sorts of stuff. It's a vegetable garden, you know, that's what it was. It's not a garden, it's not a lawn, it's a vegetable garden. So just ran around with that thing and then fired up the lawnmower. Started first pull, pretty impressive, made in China, some strange unknown brand, but started first pull and worked pretty well. Been a lot of years since I've pushed a lawnmower around. I've got to tell you too, people driving past while I was doing this, people driving down our little street while I was doing this, slowed down and had a look. A bit of a scene. You don't see much of this going on around here. So it turned a few heads. I'm sure they'll be talking about it. Hey, do you see what the foreigner's doing now? He's got some machine. So anyway, we'll do a quick before and after, shall we, guys? I always like the before and after. I don't know if anyone else does, but I do. Check it out. That's the before. That's the after. So it still looks a bit rough. It's obviously going to take, you know, probably all this season, all this summer to slowly get it a bit more even, and then, you know, probably some weed killer and probably, you know, try and flatten it out a little bit, fill up the crevices and the nooks and crannies and things. But it's an improvement on what it was, and over time, give us a few months and we'll have that looking like a real lawn, I think. Bit of hard work. Fabulous. More videos coming soon.